She's a wonderful person, and I believe a wonderful talent, and she played her part perfectly.
Where did Beulah come from?
I have no idea. I really don't. Probably met Raven or Dreamer or both in a social setting, maybe a bar or a club. I'm not sure. But I will say this, whoever came up with the name of this beautiful woman with the ugliest name possible, Beulah McGillicutty, I couldn't think of that name if you paid me $1,000,000, like off the top of my head. So I don't know. To me, I think that was a Raven. It could have been Paul, but what a great name to not fit the current look, but in your imagination, fit the old look of what she was.
I think Raven came up with the name as well. I don't know if it's like Beulah. I know Beulah was a guy in Ferris Bueller's Day Off as well. But I didn't realise this. I've just checked up on it. She made a one-off appearance in Stampede Wrestling in 1988 as Brian Pillman's sister. And she was dating Pillman at the time.
I had no idea. That's news to me.
So she was, I'm sorry, this is all Wikipedia stuff, but while working as a backup dancer for the singer Prince Hayes, her real name is Trisha Hayes, met baseball player Ron Grant, who introduced her to his friend, professional wrestler Raven. So Raven introduced her. I know she, Penthouse appearance as well.
She also has, from Todd, I don't know if she currently does it or not, but I remember she was really into doing kind of what we do here with video editing and production and stuff like that. So hopefully she's still doing that because she was really this is after ECW and stuff, but she was really into production, video editing, stuff like that. So she's a smart girl. She's such a sweetheart.
Your thoughts on Beulah as a person? Because I'm just, how easy was she to? I mean, I suspect she was more or less sort of clueless as to the wrestling business at the time. So, I mean, how well did she take direction? How well did she integrate herself in the locker room? Because she was involved deeply in a lot of storylines for years in ECW.
Never. I mean, she's a wonderful person, and I believe a wonderful talent, and she played her part perfectly. I never had any cross words or any cross interaction with anybody that I could think of. Completely easy to work with, understood her role, played it up, and that was it. She had so much poise, so much presence, and a professionalism about her while still being disarming and friendly, not being like standoffish, but a professionalism that, in the wild world of ECW, the land of misfit toys, I figured she and Tommy and Raven would be WWF bound in no time whatsoever. They just had an air of like it was about making money. It was about the creative thing. And she never said much, but she carried herself as a true professional.
What did you think when she finally got into the ring and wrestled Fonzie? That's the bloodbath one, isn't it?
Oh man. I mean, you just gotta watch it. I mean, when it came time to go, I mean, obviously it's two non-wrestlers in the ring, but I believe for two non-wrestlers in the ring, that they had the fans, they did what they could do, the best they could do with it, and it was definitely a bloodbath. It was crazy.
So, Francine, you are given credit for Francine debuting as Francine that we all know and love today. You have almost like a positive stalker. She was infatuated with you. She was your fan. How did it come about that Francine was coming into the business, and who sort of decided to inject her straight away into a main storyline?
She was at a local wrestling school, I believe, and we had met there when I went to train. Then Paul, or Tommy, I'm not sure. It might have been Raven too. I'm not sure who kind of found her to bring her in and do that. But you want to talk about a perfect, twist or kind of spin off of the main angle.
I think it was Todd. I think it was Todd himself that actually brought Francine.
Let's not forget, hey, listen, can we make this a clip or a part of something? Because we cannot talk about my career, Raven's career, Francine, Dreamer, even Paul or anybody in ECW without acknowledging Todd Gordon, paving the way, and making ECW happen. That was Todd Gordon. Todd Gordon with Eddie Gilbert, then Todd Gordon with Paul Heyman. It definitely needs to be said over and over again. And I suggest everybody go out and buy Todd's book after your 2 books, of course.
Mhm.
Uh, but buy Todd's book. It's an excellent read. He's been promoting it. Another friendly guy at all the conventions. And he's best friends with Fonzie. These guys just kind of gravitate to each other. Him, Fonzie, Sandman, just fun people to be around. But if it's Todd, then I'll take your word for it because I'm not sure about that. But you talk about the main storyline now giving me a girlfriend when I'm a clueless putz. There's one person in the world, like everybody else. You got that one person in the world. Everybody else might think you're an idiot, but this person loves you for who you are. So, what does a clueless putz do when he finds the one girl who truly loves him for who he is? Well, he turns on her, of course. he helps he helps her get pile driven with a match against Beulah, and he goes back with Raven. Now I have even more heat. And she goes with the pit bulls. Dude, ECW, say what you will. You want to talk about each and every character, each and every talent, whether it's a wrestler, manager, referee, Paul Heyman on camera, storylines, angles, baby faces, heels. Every single thing had an intention. Every single thing had a purpose. And every single thing, quite frankly, we were actually organically booking as we went along. If we needed to pivot or turn or do something, we'd do it. It was just unintentionally. It was organized chaos where everything made sense and it really had no right to, had no business making sense, but we made it make sense.
With Francine, what I hear, what I can gather is that in the best way, she was one of the guys. It's like whatever you could do to one of the guys, she would take it as well. She consistently wanted to prove herself.
Yeah, but she had her nervousness as anybody who never took, say, a pile driver. That's why we kind of both held their legs while Beulah pile drived her because they were both nervous about protecting her. You know, there's a basic nervousness if you're not sure. And back then, the guardrail spot tells the whole story. Back then, you were almost afraid to even bring up any kind of concern with that. But she did it in a way that was really good, and she's a girl. So the guys want to give her the moves, but the guys also want to take care because the body structure and the composition and the muscle and the skeleton's completely different. And Raven and Dreamer, if she was in there with, I don't know, she did take total elimination, I think, once, didn't she? She did from the Eliminators during the 6-man tag with myself and the Eliminators versus her and the Pit Bulls. But outside of that, they took care of her. But it's a rough bump to take when you're literally getting the playground knockover deal, from both sides. But the guys understood too to take care of the women because they're women. We did more man on woman violence than anybody, but how many women got hurt? Lori Follington used to get speared through the table by Rhino. But I'd never heard of any of the girls getting legitimately, seriously injured. And I think the guys took great care to at least try to take care of them to some degree.
With Francine as well, we've got a couple more follow-up things with her. One, she was never afraid to get heat. Two, she could get heat incredibly because, gorgeous woman and everything, and she's with Shane for the majority of her career in ECW, or the best remembered portion of her ECW career, of course. And I was talking on the old podcast I did with Shane. I'm sorry it's over. Couldn't make schedules, mate. I feel like I keep having to apologise because there was so much left uncovered on that one. So he said one day he realised Francine got it. And you know how she would do the pantomiming and with Shane and, he's my boyfriend or he's the greatest guy and, make a bit of a thing with the belt. One day, unsolicited, not planned, she went to one side of the ring, so it's like he took off the robe or whatever he was wearing, the belt's there. And then unsolicited, she goes to one corner of the ring and then she gets on all fours and then she crawls all the way across the ring and then kisses the belt. So just like absolute pandemonium from the fans. And Shane went, that was the day I knew that she got it. And I didn't have to tell her anything else. She got this business.
It's a great place to break through, to have that breakthrough point, especially if you're trying to coach somebody along. Now you know I can have confidence, and you do take a little bit of your own creative energy to make sure that they're going to do what you need them to do. There's always back of your mind worrying. And for Shane, that was probably the most freeing moment because he probably got more over after that because he could focus and know that Francine's going to carry her weight. You know, Shane's a great teacher. Shane's a great man. He was a teacher, an actual teacher. So he has it in himself. Raven's a great teacher. If it's presented a little bit differently, sometimes not with rainbows and ice cream cones, but it's still teaching nonetheless. Paul's a great teacher. Tommy, you can learn from everybody, but Shane, I know that feeling too on both ends. Raven's relief when I started to get it, and then my relief when I'm with somebody and they're starting to get it. It's a great feeling. It's terrible up until that point. It's very stressful, which you can understand stress right now. It's very stressful, but it's worth it in the end.